What are some of the first steps to getting somebody free that's been wrongfully convicted or been framed?
Well, you're going to have to file a writ, probably a writ of habeas corpus, where you're going to have to go to the federal court, because the first time you're going to have an attorney that's on the state level, and then they're going to grade that. They're going to write out their writ after 2 or 3 years, and they're going to grade it like USDA meat. They're going to stamp it and pass it on. But this is where the trouble starts. Once you get to federal court, you have no appellate attorney. That means you have to go and do it yourself, become self-sufficient, have to study, go to the library, probably have to get somebody that's a jailhouse lawyer, pro per, and help you. Other than that, you've got enormous odds to overcome, to where you got guys that have enormous resources, the lawyers, the DA, the judge, they have the resources to combat you, to where everything you have to do, you have to come up out your pockets, study the law. It's almost impossible to be. How you going to be somebody that went to school for it and they just throwing this at you? So it takes enormous odds. And those are the steps. You file a writ of habeas corpus, and you can continue in California the process of appealing. We got a long appellate process. That's why it might take 38, 40 years to get executed, whereas in Florida, Virginia, Texas, they real quick to execute you in 3 or 4 years because you do not have the appellate process. Those are some of the main states to not get the death penalty in.
Texas, Florida.
Texas, Florida, Virginia. Here's why. We had D.C. Sniper. I was in D.C. hosting a show then. I had a show called the Mo Better Man Blues Show in 2000. But the murder started in Montgomery County. That's in Maryland. But when they tried him, they made it to where they transferred it and put it in Virginia. Because in Maryland, you only got 13 people on death row at that time. In Virginia, you get executed real quick. So they changed the change of venue from Montgomery County, which is in Maryland, by Prince George County, and they subtly changed it to Virginia. To the naked eye, it didn't mean nothing. But when they did that, that let me know. Joe Vane, or whatever his name was, for to get executed in less than 4 years. And that's what happened. Whereas if they'd have held it where it first started at, he'd have just been on death row. But they subtly changed his change of venue to Virginia. In less than 4 years, he was executed. They had the death penalty focus that I used to work with in Washington, D.C. They got magazines with every state, the judges, the prosecutors, and 99% of those involved in the death penalty are white. There's no white men on death row for killing a black. The majority of them are not on there when they done something, an act of passion like Peters, or the Kyle and Lyle Menendez who killed their father for financial gain. But why they didn't get the death penalty? They were eligible. How do you distinguish Tookie get the death penalty? That's up under special circumstances. Kyle and Lyle Menendez up under special circumstances. They killed their mother for financial gain. They don't get the death penalty. Scott Peterson killed his mother for financial gain, his wife, buried her and everything. All those guys were eligible, so they arbitrarily pick who goes to and from the death penalty or to death row. And that's another reason why it should be abolished, because of the racial complexity of those on death row compared to the racial and the demographics. We're 12% of the population, yet we're 30, 40, 45% of those incarcerated. So we're getting incarcerated at a rate of maybe for every 1,000, for every one white, is 10, 12, 15 of us going to jail. So something's wrong with that picture.
Yeah, man, it's...
And brown. Brown and black make it up, and then, believe it or not, whites also, but they're the poor whites. And you can look at these shows. When a black killed, the name of it is 48 Hours Murder. But when a white kill, it's snapped. I almost got away with it. Like it's an excuse for them. They want to figure out what made them tick to do that. Whereas when a black or somebody else, a brown, do the same instance, it's murder, she wrote. So a lot of times you have to watch the subtleties of this propagandists and the platforms that they're using to bring this out, to create an image and a profile of each and everybody race. And it's just unfair how the criminal justice system is pretty much creating a genocide. It's a cocktail between mass incarceration, us killing everybody, killing each other, and drug addiction. That's a combination for a genocide, to where a lot of lives are being lost one way or the other. And you know, I have another legislation that I'm fit to try to initiate called ISIS, ICSS, Inner City Stress Syndrome. That comes from the condition of those that have been brought up in the conditions such as you, myself, and others, to where we've seen a lot of violence, waking up to violence, mental health, drug addiction. And I think this is no more different than PTSD when they go to the wars over in Vietnam and they come back mentally stressed. I think these youths and kids that are suffering from the same thing over years and over time, I think there should be some type of mental health relief for them also, because of the conditions that exist within the areas and the communities that we stay in.
Mental health's a big thing. I didn't really start learning about that type of stuff till I got older. And I kind of learned that my whole world view and how I seen the world was just like fucked. And I had to because I grew up thinking, violence was normal, and a lot of my homeboys would go to jail. When I was growing up, their older brothers would, they'd be going to prison, and I didn't really, think any different till I got older. It was like, yo, man, this ain't normal. This ain't what it's supposed to be.
You have to have some type of mental condition where you're working up, wanting to hurt somebody else, seeking revenge. We all, not only me too. A lot of times I got to sit back and step back and sit back and analyze and think hard and think of the things. It's very mental stressing when you have and care about other people and people around you, because as you get older, what you've done could affect your child. Your child could get up out there now and be subject to this. So, particularly us older guys, we have to take a stand to where we have to protect our children, your grandchild. We got grandchildren, children, and they say, well, Melvin, well, when we were young, we didn't know no better. We didn't have nobody to tell us. All this was relatively new. But now at this age and time, to where you're still trying to be tough to shine, oh man, that's blasé. That's over with. That's old news. People are trying to make a change and trying to live for a better life.
Do you think the internet makes it worse?
Oh, the internet has been, you can be Adolf Twitler and a gang member and all that. You can gangbang over the internet. You can take a computer and turn it into a Uzi now. Look what's going on. Everybody's beefing, bringing smoke, and it started in 2015. That's the 100 days and the 100 nights when KP got killed, then BK got killed, then everything started. They was throwing dead bodies on there. And we have to look at it to where they monitor a song that's played. You can put a song up there by artists, and in 5 seconds they're going to tell you, you can't play that song because it belonged to another artist. In 5 minutes they're going to pull that video. But on social media now, I blame it on social media, but those that are hosting these shows that would allow certain people to get up there where they don't care about what they're saying. You could say words, harm people, and they don't care. All they want to do is get paid. And there's no integrity on the internet now. And it's causing a lot of friction, and their faces being seen, their location, and then you fool around and you run around, and the next thing you know, you don't got your butt popped. So the internet is part of the problem, and it's being misused by a lot of us that abuse and misuse the internet instead of using it the proper way as far as bringing out information. But a lot of times they're using it to start beefs, to settle beefs, to create that atmosphere of toughness or whatever. However it go, the internet is not being used as far as the way that it could be, particularly amongst our own. There's a lot of beefing going on all the way around it.